If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. I've done this before in the past. Some people request that I do this once in a while. Some people don't like it because I don't know, for some reason, I guess last time I did this, people were like, I want to hear what he had to say. But I'm actually going to do a commentary and show you guys a walkthrough of the douchery of Freemasonry. There's recruitment videos all over the place. Every state, they have these recruitment videos. And I found this other one on YouTube, and I just want to do a video on it. I believe this is for a Freemason lodge in Texas. So together, let's go. Let's walk through it and listen to how they want to recruit young kids into joining their cult, right? Because that's what it is. A little techno beat for the Masons, the Grand Lodge of Texas. Make sure that volume is cranked up. Between friends. Becoming a Mason. And I only saw like 2 minutes of this, just so everyone knows. I didn't watch this in full.
The family of Masons in Texas is primarily composed of the Grand Lodge of Texas and its 846 subordinate lodges. Those 846 subordinate lodges are the homes for now approximately 90,000 Masons.
Good old Elmer Fudd here.
Is unique. Only requires three things to be a Mason. You must have a belief in a supreme being. Now, you may call him God, you may call him Allah, you may call him Jesus, but that belief in that supreme being is absolutely necessary, or you're never permitted to be a Mason.
That's because they want you to worship Lucifer.
The Masonry is you must have a belief in a supreme being. The second is, and some people consider this to be the most difficult, you must be a man of good character.
Oh, you're disqualified, Elmer.
Man's character, you're trying to determine how he's going to live his life for the rest of his life, whether he be 18 years old or 90 years old. We've had men in that age join the fraternity. And you're trying to find how he has lived his life up to that moment. You visit his home, you meet his family.
Up to 90?
He refers you to other Masons that he has known.
Oh.
And you try to determine if he's a man of his word and his character is really there. Upon determining that he is a man of good character, you then move to the next cornerstone.
What's that?
And the third cornerstone, and I consider it one that distinguishes this fraternity from all other organizations around the world, knowing that this fraternity goes across every geographical and physical boundaries, oceans, mountains, borders.
I guess that's where we get the term Golden Globe. This guy probably shoves the Golden Globe up his rear end.
Now, to me, that's something that has to be heartfelt. That's the first thing when a man tells me he's interested in being a Mason. I tell him about the Supreme Being, that he must profess.
See, folks,
belief.
Supreme Being.
He must be a man of good character. But I explain to him what meeting on the level means. And what that means to me is that the moment that man petitions, and for the rest of his Masonic career, we judge his actions by his character. Disregarding any kind of education, wealth, whatever, and judge him on his character.
Right, whether or not you can convince him that Lucifer's God and then let him grow within the Masonic lodge. That's absolutely. Bunch of scumbags. Look at this. Was this made in 1982? This graphics?
The history of Texas and the history of Masons are tied closely together.
Hey, subs, can you guys wake me up when this is over? I'd appreciate it. Dick Brown here. Jeez. Travis. If that's your real name. We got Dick Brown, folks.
Thomas Rusk, Sam Houston, Stephen F. Austin, on and on. These were all Masons.
Oh my gosh, guess what? So are all the presidents and the actors and all these people. What a surprise, Dick.
Or gain her independence from Mexico. The Grand Lodge of Texas was formed in 1837. It was actually a group of Masons that were part of Austin's colony that wanted to have a lodge. Here they come from different parts of the United States into Texas and wanted to have a lodge. So to have a lodge, they had to petition some other Grand Lodge to get permission to do so. So they petitioned Mexico, the Grand Lodge of Mexico.
What a great speaker. Do you teach people public speaking skills and how to put people in a coma?
It's before the revolution, but they were at odds. And they never heard back from the Mexican lodge.
And you worship Lucifer. And where's your bib and your smock that you wear?
Texas started fighting for their independence.
Oh, yes.
Another group petitioned the Grand Lodge of Louisiana. They said not Mexico, but Louisiana. And it was granted by a man named Holland, who was a Grand Master in Louisiana at the time.
Grand Master
Bader. The petition
Bader
actually arrived in Texas just in time for the Battle of San Jacinto in the saddlebag of Anson Jones. And was in the saddlebag during the entire battle.
This guy put baby oil on his head. This guy's head is shiny. Jeez.
The first lodge was Holland Lodge #1, chartered and named after the.
You got to worship a supreme being.
That was the first Masonic lodge in Texas.
It could be anything, but it's got to be a supreme being. Oh, yeah. I wonder what you're hinting at there.
Republic for about a year.
They don't want atheists in there. You know why?
Decided to have a grand.
They know they can't convince them to worship Lucifer. They get lukewarm Christians. There's your skull and bones, folks. Your double eagle.
Anson Jones,
Rothschild crest.
Is the first Grand Master of Texas.
Sorry if I'm speaking over the information. If anyone really wants the information from this cue ball.
In the early days, most of the Masonic lodges were also used as the first public schools.
Oh, that's great.
They were a convenient place to meet. They were set up for meetings.
That's great, folks.
And
use these as
they weren't
public
being used
schools. Oh my gosh.
School days. So Texas Masons are credited with starting the first public schools in Texas.
Oh boy, what a surprise! Take a look at the public school. That's
lodges to be used as the schoolrooms.
Another feather in the cap of these douches.
Came to Texas from Georgia, and he signed up as in the Texas Army. He signed up as a private. So he's at Sam Houston's camp at just before San Jacinto.
Jeez, imagine having to listen to this guy on the holidays. This is like your grandfather.
And a group of Rusk men were actually trapped behind Mexican lines. So somebody had to go rescue them. So Lamar hops on a horse, and this isn't exactly how it happened, but this is what I
tell us.
Horse, grabs a sword, and with a group of his men, and he charges the Mexican lines. And he charges right through the line. The Mexican line virtually parted. Let him come through. They gathered up Rusk's men, and they headed back through. It was such a show of bravery that the Mexican men lay down their Mexican soldiers laid down.
Next,
their arms
please. Where's the next old
through.
grandpa
So
to
he
tell?
gets back
Oh
to the
my
Texas line,
gosh, the
and
story
Sam
never
Houston hears about
ends.
what happened. Sam Houston goes up and makes him a major. And
so interesting. Excuse me
while
I poke myself in the forehead with a sharp pencil.
President of the Republic of Texas. Lamar is known as the father of education in Texas. He founded many of the first public schools. He set aside money for state universities.
What a hero.
And,
responsible for indoctrinating the children with garbage in the public schools, folks.
Education in the state of Texas. The thing about Texas history,
this guy doesn't stop.
Has always fascinated me.
Imagine being married to this guy. You're laying in bed. He's just going and going and going.
All of the
he probably talks this long about his daily activities. Well, I went into the bathroom.
Half of the signers of the Texas Declaration of Independence were Masons. They weren't heroes because they were Masons, but yet they were Masons. The guys like Davy Crockett.
No Mason's a hero, old man. Especially not you.
Edwin Ward Moore,
look at his corny Masonic tie. He's got the little Masonic logo and insignias on it.
When you study Texas history and you hear of the heroes, the founders
in Texas,
chances are very good they were Masons.
Another reason not to like Texas. I'm just kidding. You're from Texas.
My family has gotten involved in Masonry by becoming members of certain groups that are
Harold Brown. Are you really? Wasn't the last guy's name Dick Brown?
Being a member of the Order of Eastern Star, which is a Masonic group for women.
Here we go.
Men, but women have to have a Masonic.
So witches, folks, witches.
Male relative, or if their mother was an Eastern Star, that allows them to participate as well. My daughter has gotten involved through the International Order of Rainbow for Girls, which is a
child
Masonic
abuse
youth group for girls. that teaches leadership and civic
See
responsibility.
the hand, folks. Notice the
And then
handshake
there
and the
are
rainbow.
also ways for those that have sons that like their boys to participate can join the International Order of DMLA. Each youth group teaches and stresses important moral lessons and values. They teach civic responsibility. You learn leadership skills, and you also create bonds, worldwide bonds that are lifelong and lasting. One of the things I enjoy about Masonry and appreciate is being able to travel around the world and being accepted no matter who you are and where you're from. And kind of give you an example, I went to Mexico with some brothers, and we went to a Masonic lodge we had never visited. And when we met the brothers there, we were received so openly and warmly as if we were long-lost blood brothers that they had not seen in years. And that's pretty comforting.
Folks, this is how they network with each other. That's why there's signs in your highway for Masonic lodges, so they can go and network, because they believe in the same thing. Lucifer is God. They network with each other, they help each other, and then they leave people like you and me out in the dust as far as it comes as income and personal growth, which is fine. As Christians, we don't need that, but
bonds that they will carry on and have with them.
They're the controllers.
The time restraints that we have in Masonry include just the multiple facets of life in having family that are involved in sports, families that are involved in extracurricular school activities, which limits one's ability to participate in Masonry.
He's got a shiny head,
we
too.
have to take into consideration as well. And one of the things that we espouse in Masonry is that the activities that we do in Masonry should not detract from our responsibilities to our God, our religion, our
Who's
family.
your God? They won't tell us that.
At the local level, a lot of lodges will have participatory programs like Family Day. They'll do picnics. They'll do dinners, holiday dinners. Valentine's dinner is a big one at a lot of local lodges.
Valentine's
at the state
dinner?
level, the Grand Lodge will sponsor a Masonic Family Day at the Masonic Retirement Center in Arlington, and that's a pretty big to-do. But there's usually always something, either local lodges or at state level, that affords the family members to participate as well.
These graphics built.
Masonry can make me a better father by me taking in and learning the lessons of Masonry, the moral and ethical lessons that we have.
What's that, to worship
and
Lucifer?
It shows me how to improve myself and become a better person, understanding
shove
who
it
I
up
am.
your
and
rear
by
end.
that, the extension of becoming a better
Makes
person.
me a better person,
man.
the ethics of
better
Masonry.
Man should be a better father. And
Read
a
the
better,
Bible, douchebag.
Husband to my wife. And then by that extension, that family gets better from having that relationship, and the community at large becomes better.
It's Beethoven.
There's this thought out there that Masonry is a secret society.
Brad.
It's actually pretty far from the truth when you think about it.
Oh, please, Brad.
Masonry, aside from, a couple of modes of recognitions, our handshakes and our words, and specifics to our ceremonies, we can share almost anything else. We can talk to you about the teachings of our fraternity. We can talk to you about the morals of our fraternity. We can talk to you about the lessons within our fraternity. And
I'm not interested in being bullshit to. Thanks, Brad.
Masons my age will be eager to share those with members of the outside
No, thanks,
community.
Brad. Stay away from me if I ever see you.
If you want to be a Mason, you have to ask to be a Mason. Nobody's going to come up to you and ask you to join our fraternity. It's part of our heritage. It's part of our tradition. And there are some very particular reasons why you will never be asked to be made a Mason. But if
we all know those reasons
to become a Mason, you need to find a Mason. You probably already know one, and tell them that you want to become a Mason. Oh. And what they'll do is
I just want to know how often you pluck your eyebrows, Brad. Jeez. You're almost foregone at this point.
After you get to know the brethren in the lodge, and they know you, then they'll give you a petition once they feel comfortable. And
that's great. Give me one. I need extra toilet paper.
The petition. There are several
to the worshipful Master Wardus and brethren.
That filled out.
These people are such low lives.
And then that lodge, at its next stated business meeting, will assign a committee, and this committee will be comprised of 3 other Masons.
A bunch of dorks.
Their job is to investigate you as a candidate for Masonry.
How about we investigate you,
Brad? That your intentions are pure, that you want to join for the right reasons, but also to make sure that you're a good man.
What if we want to join it?
Stated purpose
I won't even
is
say
to take a good man and make him better. not to take a bad man and make him good. And there's some very serious reasons.
How about you
for
leave
that.
Masonry and we
The
could
main one
maybe
being
convince you
is
to
we are a
somehow make you
brotherhood,
a good
and
man
we take care of each other.
instead of being a
We
tool.
look after each other. And we want to make sure that we only allow good men to become Masons.
But how'd you get in?
So really,
you forge
what this
your resume
investigation
there, Brad?
process is to make sure that we're letting in quality candidates to then
I think the qualification is you all have to have shiny foreheads and bald heads and
So
fake
that's kind of
names
the
like
walkthrough
Brad
of
Billings or
how
Dick
to
Brown.
first obtain a petition and then the process afterwards.
Wow, Masonic experience.
Masonry teaches through ritual. This
See,
is the
through
only
ritual,
organization that
folks.
I know of that teaches through degrees.
Scientology, they all teach through degrees, dumbass.
History to it. It's been around forever. And when I think about Freemasonry, I remember the night I was going to get initiated, I was standing at the door.
Were you just in your tighty
I was
whities?
about to finally figure out
The sword
what
to
was
your throat?
inside the lodge and how everything worked and operated.
Oh, this is
And there was just a very solemn moment in there, and I thought to myself, this is where George Washington once stood.
Was this when you
A
sharded?
member of our fraternity, and I'm standing in the same spot
Oh,
as George Washington.
please, you
And,
loser.
you know, whoever your hero is, Benjamin Franklin, Paul Revere.
Benjamin
if you're in
Franklin,
Texas
another known
Masonry, of
pedo,
course,
by the way, if you haven't watched my
Houston,
videos.
Austin, you know,
Many
Bowie,
bodies found
and
under his
Davy
house of
Crockett,
children.
Whoever your
That's a
hero is, good chances are that they might have been a Mason.
yeah. No, my hero's
And
Jesus
to be
Christ.
standing where those people
He wasn't a
had stood,
Mason.
was just
Lord knows
awe-inspiring to
Brad
me,
Billings
and
isn't anyone's
I
hero.
remember that moment for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
Masonry also teaches
probably this is one of the first times you
in a
sharded
very,
yourself.
very old system. The way we teach our lessons is from an instructor to you as the individual candidate. None of this stuff is written down. It's very interesting when you think about it. In the world we live in, with media, you know, the internet,
Interesting.
magazines,
Sounds like
newspapers,
oral law.
articles being
Almost
written
like the
everywhere,
Talmud,
Twitter,
I guess. Oops, I can't say
Facebook.
that.
To think, none of this stuff's written down. None of this stuff is going to show up on any of those places. Now, of course, there's
Actually, it
all kinds of
has.
stories
The
out on
secret's
internet and
out,
things of that
Brad.
nature. But true Masonry is taught from an instructor to a candidate, and that personal
Yeah.
bond.
Too bad we've got the
is
documents
created there,
now.
and
The
just
word's
the
out.
experience of it. That's something you don't find in our modern society. And finally, Masonry teaches through.
You guys teach the
allegories and
male-on-male
symbols.
Kama
And,
Sutra.
you
That's
think to
about
the
it.
Egyptian days when people couldn't read.
Egyptian
they couldn't
days,
write,
folks.
but they could see a symbol and they could understand
Right?
what
Stuff
it
I'm
meant.
telling you about with the Egyptian worship.
That practice is largely lost on our society today. But in Masonry, that's what we're all about. You know, if you see a square, if you see a compass, if you see the letter G, if you see a double-headed eagle,
Symbols.
or if you see a keystone, all these things will mean something to a Mason. And,
So they communicate
they don't
through
necessarily always
codes,
mean the
but
same
no one
thing
else
to every
thinks
Mason,
that this
because
stuff
some of it's left
exists.
to interpretation. But the idea and the ability to see the world through signs and symbols is something that is truly unique to the Masonic fraternity.
See? Signs and symbols, folks. And I didn't watch this in its own entirety. I did not watch this beforehand. To hear them say that, I watched 2 minutes and I said, I want to talk during it because I want to make fun of these losers. Right? He ends it, he talks about signs and symbols. Signs and symbols. They see it, no one else does. Mason Lodge in your town, in my town, in every town. These are the controllers. These are the people who control industry. These are the people who worship Lucifer. Okay? That's why they make sure that when they do this whole nonsense, that you have to believe in a supreme being. You know why? Because it's the same thing I say all the time. Because they know that atheists are the stupidest people on earth. They don't want them in the Masonic lodges because they won't be able to convince them that Lucifer is God. But what they do is they take lukewarm Christians, they take whoever actually, might have somewhat of a belief in Christ, and they twist it. And they turn them, and they teach them to flip it and invert it. And teach them that all the Egyptian culture and all that stuff is what they should worship. And that Lucifer is the light bearer. Right? So even these lowlifes don't want atheists near them because they know that they're so dumb and that they're the people who have been indoctrinated with the school system belief that they're not worthy to even be involved because they're too dumb to be involved in spiritual warfare. So you saw the douchery for yourself. I mean, what a joke. These people are unbelievable. You know, and some people say, well, how do we stop it? How do we stop it? Petition to get them run out of our towns. Because they should be run out of our towns. They should be run out of our towns and flushed down the toilet. That's where they belong. Ooh, our brotherhood, come join it. Right? And they get you to think that, oh, if you go to school for this or that, you're going to make money and be successful. No, you're not. They want you to be in debt your whole life. They want you to chase dreams that you can't have. They control the system. It is a network, just like the guy said. We drove down to Mexico and we went to a lodge. Any of you guys driving down to Mexico or driving to another state, and then you just go meet up with complete strangers?